Welcome back to my channel. In this video today I will be discussing my top 10 favourite ever male wrestlers. Of course this was quite hard, this one, to narrow it down, but I think I've got it. So number 10 is going to be the one and only Marc Emery. There's a few reasons he is on my list. He is such an incredible guy. He does so much charity work. World's strongest man. He's an incredible athlete. I actually had the chance to meet him last year, and he was so sweet. And I was so nervous about meeting him because I just thought he was brilliant. But he was honestly he's so welcoming. But he is definitely up there with one of my favourites, just because he just, you know, he was scary. He wasn't the, you know, most approachable in WWE, but he's proved himself to be such a genuine chap, and he's always been up there with my favourites. So number 9, of course this guy is going to be on my list, of course, there's no doubt about it. Not only is he the father of an incredible athlete, a beautiful human, he's been the reason I continued watching wrestling. I absolutely loved him when he was in WWE. He's such an amazing guy. He's got such an incredible character, and the way he just brings himself along, and you know, I don't even think there's that many words to describe him, because he's just insane. He just brings such a presence when he's performing, and you know, he made a massive difference in the way people feel about wrestling. And of course it's going to be Ric Flair. Like I mentioned in another video of mine, how I cried my eyes out in his last ever match. I think, yeah, it's just he was a big part of my childhood, really, and watching him, you know, just transform and just sparkle, of course. And obviously he's the dad of Charlotte, and I absolutely love Charlotte Flair, so of course he was going to be in my list. So at number 8 we have Batista, who obviously he's not around anymore, bless him. He's on to bigger and better things in Hollywood, and he's doing so well for himself. He's such a cool guy. I absolutely loved him in WWE. To be fair, I think everybody loved him. He was a machine. He worked hard. He is absolutely brilliant, and he provided us with some of the best matches ever. So he's of course going to be on my list. He's just a fantastic overall guy. Oh my god, I'd love to meet him. Unfortunately I missed out the opportunity to meet him, which was really, you know, really disappointing. But hopefully in the future we'll get to meet him. At number 7 we have Kane. You know, big red machine. Scary guy, but he's just, you know, like I said about Ric Flair, this guy is also a big part of my childhood when it comes to wrestling. You know, him and Undertaker together, like you just can't fault it. I used to get so excited just when I, you know, heard his music and knew he was coming out to the ring. He's just such a cool wrestler. I wouldn't really call it cool, I'd say scary. I don't think I'd like to be put in a room with him, because I think I'd be quite frightened. Maybe, you know, if he wasn't dressed as Kane, I'd be fine, but he is scary, and he's huge. But yeah, he's definitely my list. Number 6, there is no introductions needed for this guy. He's just the guy, and that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think most people will feel the same about me. He just brings it, doesn't he? He just brings the fire, and as soon as, you know, anytime his music's gone off, you just know that, you know, it's gonna go down. It's something exciting's gonna happen. I honestly used to just love just watching his matches and just watching him, and him, you know, just coming down that ring just ready, and just, I think he's inspired so many people into wrestling. And, you know, I've even watched, you know, his programs on the side, you know, his like strongman programs, and there was this one, I can't actually remember what it's called, when he had this challenge, and everybody that was in the challenge had to do these really tough like agility courses. It was awful, but you could see how much he was loving it. He was loving putting people through what he's been through, but it was such a good program, because it just, in a way, it did prove how much he wants people to, you know, do their bit. And of course he's going to be on my list. He's just such an incredible, inspirational wrestler. Number 5. This guy, like, you know, like number 6, doesn't really need an introduction either. You know, he's still about. He's not wrestling as much, but, you know, he's been doing some commentating. He's been doing a lot of stuff with NXT. You know, he's still part of WWE. He's still, you know, still rolling. Last year he had a match with Triple H, and of course we know who I'm talking about, and that's obviously HBK. There's not really much to say about him other than he's an absolute legend. I'll never forget when his wife got punched in the face. Never forget it. And his reaction, it was such a weird moment, and everyone was so surprised, and I can't even explain how I felt. It was just, to this day I don't know what happened. But anyway, Shawn Michaels, of course he's going to be my top 10. He's brought some of the best matches ever. Obviously, like I said about my Ric Flair match, cried my eyes out because of Shawn Michaels. But it wouldn't be Shawn Michaels if he didn't end someone's career. At number 4, I've mentioned how much I adore this guy before. He's probably, he's actually the only one on my list which is one of the newer guys. I've actually realised my list is quite back in the day, but yeah, anyway, right, so number 4 on my list is obviously going to be Braun Strowman. What a legend. What an absolute legend. He's scary. He's got this character, but I think I like him because I know how he'd be quite protective, and you know, he'd take you in and give you a cuddle, probably squeeze me to death, but he's just brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant, and I really this year I just want to see more of him. He needs to come out bigger than ever. And if anybody's seen, you know, recent Raw episode, you'd notice him and Kurt Angle a team. So for me that is very exciting. Number 3, as I've mentioned his brother earlier, it's going to be The Undertaker. See, this is like another one on my list. There's not much I can say because he's incredible. He's incredible. He's amazing. He's a fighter and a half. He's you know, he keeps retiring, but he's coming back, and he's retired again, but then he's coming back. So you don't really know where you stand with The Undertaker. You know, one minute he could just be having a cheeky holiday, next minute he's in the ring. You don't know where he's going to be. He just pops up everywhere, but that's just him, isn't it? That is just him. He was also a massive part of my childhood. Thanks to him, I could actually roll my eyes back. Thank you, Undertaker. That is something that can be quite impressive, but also hurt, so please don't do it at home. But The Undertaker, I think like everybody else, is probably one of everyone's favourite. I don't know many people that don't like the Undertaker. He is awesome. So of course, yep, number 3, we're getting closer to 1. Who's it going to be? So we have number 2. See, this one is a bit, for me, and probably people wouldn't probably think I'd go for this as number 2, but number 2 is going to be Edge. Many reasons actually for this one. When he was in WWE, I hated him. I really, at first I didn't like him, and then he teamed up with Melina and it got a bit weird. He was mean, he was nasty, and he did not give a damn. But looking back on it now, I think he was a cool guy. He gave no crap. He did not care who he annoyed, and I think it's probably the way forward now in that industry. But I actually I met Edge a couple of years back, and he was absolutely wonderful. He was so charming, really nice to look at as well. He was just great. He was just absolutely lovely. So hopefully I can meet him again one day, fingers crossed. I won't tell him that I didn't used to like him, because that's a bit mean. But yeah, he is number 2. Of course, number 1. So, we know who it is, don't we? Let's be real, we know who it is. I've mentioned him before. I've mentioned him a few times now. He is an athlete. He is a beautiful human. He's also my dog's middle name. He was a wrestler. Still is a wrestler, kind of, sometimes when he's not injured. Hollywood actor. An all-round absolute genius. And of course that is going to be John Cena. I honestly get so excited anytime I see him anywhere. On the screen, on wrestling, on talk shows. I can't explain my excitement when I see John Cena. I think I worry if I ever met him. I think I'd actually have a bit of a meltdown, or I'd pass out. I'm not too sure. But John Cena is probably the biggest part of my childhood when it comes to wrestling. He is the reason I continued watching it. He's the reason I even began watching it, really. I just, he was just, I don't even know. He's just incredible. I used to have all his t-shirts, I would get all of his t-shirts. He's just such a really cool guy. And I used to be obsessed with his Marine film. I think that's one of the first films I was really into. It was rubbish, but it was John Cena, so of course I'm gonna love it. So yeah, number 1, of course, John Cena, and will probably be my number 1 forever. So that is my top 10. It's funny really, because if obviously you hadn't noticed, they were all back in the day. I think that's because they were the people that made me become so passionate about watching wrestling. And some of them are still in there, some of them aren't, but I think they will always have a massive part of my life. Hopefully, as time goes on, as time continues and I continue watching it, maybe I'll find some new top 10s. But at the moment I'm going to stick with my list. Quite happy with that. I am hoping to do a top 10 divas list, which is going to be impossible, may I add, because there's not many that I haven't liked. So thank you for watching this video, my top 10 favourite male wrestlers. So next time hopefully I'll be bringing you the top 10 female wrestlers. So if you can like and subscribe, that would be wonderful, and hopefully I shall see you very soon.